Hello students, welcome to Sreenath Academy. In this video, we are going to discuss the 15th chapter, which is Introduction to Graphs from 8th class Max students. So, I am Karthik Noone. We are creating videos on all chapters and all subjects from class 6 to class 12. So, please do subscribe our channel. Also like and share our videos, students. So, what is our present chapter name, students? That is the 15th chapter, which is Introduction to Graphs. So, first we will see Introduction to Graphs. First we will see what are the topics and the concepts in this video. So after that we will discuss each in detail, students. First thing is introduction, students. So next a bar graph is there. We are going to discuss about the bar graph, and next thing is about a pie graph, students. We know that circle graph, and next thing is about histogram, and next thing is about a line graph, students. So after that we'll solve some examples, students, and next thing is about there is exercise. We have to solve the exercise problem, students. So if you have any doubts in exercise, please feel free to comment below. Then we will upload videos on exercise problems also, students. So next thing is the linear graph, students. That location of a point, how to locate the point. Next thing is coordinates. There are some problems, there are some applications, students. So this is the overall chapter which we are going to learn, students. Okay, so this is our present overall chapter we are going to learn. This is the overview of this whole chapter, students. So overview is completed. Now we will discuss each topic in detail. So first thing is about introduction, students. So we will see the graphs in the televisions, in the magazines, in the newspapers, students, frequently. So what is the purpose of graph? Purpose of graph. So the purpose of graph is to the what is the main purpose is that, students, to show the numerical facts or the numerical data in the visual form. Okay, students, to show the numerical facts, to show the numerical facts in visual form. It is the main purpose, students. So that by seeing the given data in the visual form, we can easily understood it in a short time, and quickly we can understood it, and we can easily understood it, students. So thus graphs are what? Graphs are nothing but visual representation of data, students. So because of this visual representation, what is the use is we can easily find out it, we can easily remember it, we can easily understand it. So students, that is the thing. So that graphical representation is easy to understand, students. Or sometimes whenever you want to compare between both these things, so by using the graphs you can easily compare, students. Okay, so these are the benefits of the graphs, students. Okay, so the data can be written in the table form also. So basically to the paragraph data, table data is somewhat easy to remember, somewhat easy to understand, like that. So the data in the graph, it is a visual representation, it is more easy to access, it is more easy to compare, it is more easy to quickly clearly understand, students. So that is the basic introduction, that is the basic introduction to the graph, students. So next we will see a bar graph. What is a bar graph? We will discuss now, students. So a bar graph is to show comparison among categories, students. To compare between categories, we use bar graph, students. So it consists of what? It consists of parallel or which means vertical or horizontal bars, students. So this is the example of bar graph, students. These are the rectangles now. So these are the vertical rectangles, like that. Sometimes there are horizontal rectangles also. So in the bar graph we used to compare the categories. So here, if in this what happens, so here the information given is the Anu's mathematics. So Anu is a girl, and her marks in mathematics is given in this in the bar graph, students, in the 3 terminal examinations. So this is the first terminal examination, this is the second terminal examination, this is the third terminal examination, and the first terminal examination marks are what? That is 25, and next the second terminal examination marks are what? That is 30, and the third terminal examination is marks is what? That is 45 marks, students. So we can see that there is a good progress in her marks, students. So in this way we can do it. Okay students, so we have taken on the which means on the horizontal, that is the x-axis. On the x-axis it has the terms, first term, second term, third term, and the y-axis we have taken the marks, like that students. So next bar graph, it is also bar graph. Sometimes we have double bar graph students. Double bar graphs are nothing but we are having double bars like that students. Okay, so in this type of double bar graphs, what has data? So if you want to compare between these two things, then we will use double bar graph students. So here this graph is about the comparative account of sales in of various fruits over a 2-day period or a 2-day period. So 2 days, in these 2 days which fruits are sold, how much sale has done, that was given in the form of bar graph students. If you observe here students, so this color represents the Monday, this color represents the Tuesday students. So in the Monday and the Tuesday, so how many the Monday and Tuesday, how many mangoes are sold, that is represented by these bar graphs. And how many apples are sold, how many oranges are sold, how many papayas are sold, how many bananas are sold, are represented in this form students. So this like the bar graphs are used students. So next thing is about pie graph or a circle graph students. It is a pie graph students. So it looks like a circle students. So pie graph, before that is bar graph, next is pie graph students. So it will use to compare parts of a whole. What are these students? Parts of a whole. Here this whole circle represents the whole. Okay students, and how much part it takes in the whole, that is the thing students. So here this is a pie graph or circle graph. It shows the percentage of viewers watching different types of TV channels. So there are TV channels that represents the 100% students. So out of the all TV channels, which is the 100% represented by whole circle, so 50% of the viewers are viewing what? 50% are viewing entertainment channels. Okay students, so out of the 100%, so 50% of viewers are watching the entertainment channels, and 25% are watching the sports channel, and 10% are watching the news channels, and 15% watching news channels, and 10% of the viewers watching the informative channels students. These the information is just written in the form of a circular bar graph. So it is the pie graph students. Okay. And next thing is about histogram. What it is? Histogram. So histogram is similar to the bar graph students, that shows the data in interval students. So what is the difference between bar graph and histogram? So there is no gap between the histogram students. It will shows the data. It will shows the data in intervals, in between some interval students. Okay. So here there is an example students. That is, so distribution of weight of 40% of a locality. In a locality there are 40%, 40% are selected. Out of the 40%, we have measured the weight of the each person, and we have written the data in this form of histogram. So weight, number of persons. So the weight between 40 to 45 kilograms range. So the weight between 40 to 45 kilograms range is how many persons? 4 persons. So 4 persons are having the weight between 40 to 45 kgs, and 12 persons are having the weight between 45 to 50 kgs, and 13 persons are having the 50 to 55 kgs, and 6 persons are having the 55 to 60 kgs, 5 persons are having the 60 to 65 kgs weight students. So this information is written in the form of a histogram students. If you see the weight is taken in the x-axis, and on the y-axis we have taken the number of persons. So if you see from 40 to 45 interval, how many persons are there? 4 persons. So that way it written as 4 students. Okay. For 45 to 50 range, how many persons are there? For 45 to 50, there are 12 persons. So that's why you have written here. There are no gaps. Why? Because we have taken particular intervals, not at a particular time, not at a particular point, but for between intervals. So for particular between intervals, there will be no gap, no, like that, students. And if you see that this is type of symbol here, which shows that the readings from 0 to 40 are not written here. We are exempted them, like that, students. So this is all about the histogram, students. So next is about what, students? Next is about line graph. We have discussed about histogram. Now we are going to discuss about line graph. So a line graph displays the data that changes continuously over period of times. Okay, students. So line graph displays the data that changes continuously with time. Sometime here, if you see, the data is fixed for certain amount of time interval. Here also the data is fixed for certain amount of time interval. But here in this line graph, students, the data is continuously changes, students. To represent here, there is a line graph for Renu. He fell sick, students. So doctor is measuring her body temperature at different times. So they have taken okay, students, it is a time temperature graph. At 6 a.m. Temperature is 37 degrees. At 10 a.m. temperature is 40 degrees. At 2 p.m. temperature is 38 degrees. At 6 p.m. temperature is 35 degrees, students. This is the case. So it is the case, students. In this case, we have taken the x-axis. In the x-axis, we have taken the time. In the y-axis, we have taken the temperature. Okay, students, like that we have taken. So at the 6 a.m. the temperature is around 37, and at the 10 a.m. that is 40. So we have represented the data with a dotted points. After that, we have connected them with a straight lines, line segments. Okay, we have connected them with a line segment, students. So by seeing these line segments, we can say we don't know what the temperature at 8 a.m. but by seeing this line segment, we can simply say that temperature at 8 a.m. is greater than 37 degrees, like that. So these are the uses of line graph, students. So there is an example, students. Example 1, a graph on performance. So here there is the graph given, students. It is the graph, and what is the question? The given graph represents the total runs scored by two batsmen. So there are two batsmen, batsman A and batsman B. So how many runs they have scored in a particular year, in the year of 2007, in 10 different matches. They have played 10 different matches. In the 10 different matches, how much runs they have scored in each match in the year. So we have to study the graph. Sorry, students. And after the studying the graph, we have to answer these questions. What information is given on the two axes? Okay, students, what information? It is the graph. In this x-axis, matches. In this y-axis, runs scored. So we have to tell in the x-axis, number of matches information is given. In the y-axis, how many runs are scored. Okay, students, that is the thing. Next, which line shows the runs scored by batsman A? So in the graph, which line shows the runs scored by batsman A? Batsman A. So here they have given in the graph, the dotted line represents the runs scored by batsman A, and the straight line represents the runs scored by batsman B. So they have asked for batsman A. So in the graph, dotted line represents the runs scored by batsman A. That is the thing, simple. So were the runs scored by them same in any match in the 2007? So in the year of 2007, they have played 10 matches. So they have scored different runs in different they have scored different runs in different matches. But for both batsmen, is there any match in that match both runs scored by both the persons is same? So if so, in which match they have scored? So for that we have to observe the graph, students. So it is the run scored by the batsman B in the first match. So it is the run scored by batsman A in first match. So in the first match, the run scored by both are different. Okay students, now coming to the second. So in second, this is the batsman B and this is the batsman A. So in this second match also, runs scored by them are different. So coming to moving forward. So at this point, at this match called fourth match, the runs scored by the batsman B and the runs scored by the batsman A are similar students, same students. So the dotted line and the solid line intersected students. Okay, so in the fourth match we can say, during the fourth match both have scored the same. And what are the runs they have scored? If you want to know it, you have to move along the y-axis. That is 60 runs they have scored students. So next thing is, among the two batsmen, who is steadier? How do you judge? So among the two batsmen, who is steadier students? So if you see students, the batsman A has some highest, that is 110, 115, and he also having some depths. So in some matches the batsman A has didn't score any runs, so he has many dropout, which means many depths in the graph. He is also having a peak, one peak only, so he is not steady. But in the batsman B, what happens, even though he is having only one peak, but he is not going down beyond 40 runs in every match. At least he is scoring 40 runs in every match. Beyond that he didn't go. So he is consistent. So he is steady batsman students. We can judge like that. Okay students, that is finally that question is completed. We have to solve this question also like that students. So after that we have to solve the exercise problems are there students. So if you don't know how to solve the exercise problems, try it, or otherwise just feel free to comment below, then we will surely upload the videos on exercise problems students. Okay, so finally the topic is completed. Now we are coming into the linear graphs. What are linear graphs students? So line graph consists of bits of line segments joined consequently. Sometimes the graph may be a whole unbroken line. Such a graph is linear graph. So if you consider the line graph students, it is like that. No, it is a line segment, 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 like that. So this overall is called as a linear graph. Suppose it is a linear graph, or it is also a linear graph, like that students. So to draw such a line, we need to locate some points on the graph sheet. So if you want to draw a line, we want to locate some points on a graph. So how to locate points on a graph? So for that, first we have to find out how location of a point. So the teacher put a dot on the blackboard students. The teacher put a dot on the blackboard and asked the students, tell me describe the location of that point. Then someone says the dot is left side near the left edge of the board. So is it true? Yes, of course it is true, but it does not give the full information. Some tell it is upper side of the board. Is it true? Upper side of the board. Of course it is also true, but it is also not giving clarity information. So the dot is very close to the left upper corner of the board. Sometimes it is very close to left upper corner. So it is also true, but it does not give the clear information. So students, next John then gave a suggestion. He measured the distance of the dot from the left edge of the board. So he measured the distance from left edge of the board and says it is 90 centimeters from the left. The dot is 90 centimeters from the left. So is it gives the much more clarity? Yes, it is giving much more clarity, but not full clarity students. Still there is some confusion. Why? Because the dot is from 90 centimeters from left. So every point on this line are in the 90 centimeters from left. So going to move further. So finally Rekha came up with a modified statement. She says that dot is 90 centimeters from the left edge and 160 centimeters from the bottom edge. So this is the final conclusion. She says that it is at the 90 centimeters from the left edge and 160 centimeters from the bottom. So if first we have to move 90 centimeters to up from left, and you have to move 160 centimeters from down to up. So finally you will get this point. So that point is the location of that point. So by using these two measurements, we can clearly locate the position of a point students. So we will represent that information with 90, 160 bracket lines. Okay students, like that. So next thing is we are going to discuss about coordinates. So students, before you going to consider the coordinate, students, suppose if you go to auditorium and you have to search for your reserved seat, how you will find out your seat? So for that you will need two numbers. First thing is the roll number and the seat number. First you will search for row number, then you will find for seat number. So we need two basic informations like that, students. So observe in the figure 15.12. in this figure, students, so how the point 3, 4, which is 3 units from left edge and 4 units from bottom edge, is plotted on a graph sheet. So if you see, students, 3, 4 is the point, we have to locate it. So 3, 4 is the first thing is we have to move from towards the right side, towards the x-axis, the 3 units. Next we have to move towards y-axis, 4 units, students. So students, here there are coming x coordinate and y coordinate, two things, students. You given a point 3, 4, so this first term is the x coordinate, next term is the y coordinate. X coordinate is nothing but the distance of the along the x axis, and y coordinate is nothing but distance along the y axis, students. Okay, that is the thing. So we will solve a problem. Plot the point 4, 3 on a graph sheet. Is it? So first we have to plot the graph 4, 3. So for 4, 3, x coordinate is 4, y coordinate is 3. So first we have to move towards x axis 4 units. So we are starting from origin 1, 2, 3, 4. We have moved here. Next from that point we have to move towards 3 units in the y direction. So 1, 2, 3. Finally we got the point of 4, 3. And one more thing what they have asked is we have to check for 3, 4. So 3, 4 is we have to move along x-axis 1, 2, 3 and y-axis 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3, 4 and 4, 3 are not equal, friends. This is the case. So we can solve this also using the same thing. So next, plot the following points and verify they line on the line. If they lie on the line, name it. So first I will explain you this constraints. 0, 2, which means you have to move 0 units from x-axis. So you don't need to move, but you have to move 2 units from towards y-axis. From origin to 2 units we have moved. Next 0, 5, which is at this point. Next 0, 6, which is at this point. Next 0, 3.5, which is at this point. So all these points, if you line, they have formed a line, and all these points lying on the y-axis. On the y-axis, students. These lie on the line is y-axis. That is the thing, students. So this topic is also completed, students. Next, there are some applications, students. Some applications. So students, in our everyday life, students, there are some things which depend on something. Suppose, students, if you use more electricity, then you have to pay more bill. Okay, if you use more electricity, you have to pay more bill. Pay bill. If the usage of electricity is decreased, then bill payment is also decreased. If the usage of electricity is increased, bill payment is also increased. So the bill payment is depending upon the how much electricity is used. So here the electricity is independent variable. It is independent. It is depending upon anything. But here the bill paying is depending. It is dependent. So independent variable and dependent variable. So it is the independent variable and it is the dependent variable, students. Okay, that is the thing, students. So in the graphs also there are independent and independent variables, students. So here we will consider the example quantity and cost. So cost of petrol is 500, students. Number of liters of petrol. So for 10 liters of petrol, the cost is 500. For 15 liters of petrol, the cost is 750. For 20 liters of petrol, the cost is 1000. For 25 liters of petrol, the cost is 1250, students. Okay, this is the scenario, students. So we have to plot a graph to show this data. So we have taken the first thing is we have to take an x-axis. So we are taking the x-axis and liters. Next thing is taken y-axis. In the y-axis we have taken cost, and in the x-axis we have taken 5, 10, 11, 15, 20 liters, and y-axis we have taken 100, 200 like that. And first thing is we have plotted the points. That is what? That is 10, 500, 15, 750 like that. 10, 500, it is the point, it is the point, it is the point, and we have joined them with a straight line, students. So next thing is that, students, from the graph, students, it is a linear graph, straight line, no, that's why it is a linear graph, students. So students, if you want how much it costs for 12 liters of petrol, for 12 liters of petrol you have to move along the this line in the y-axis, y direction, students, then you will got a test to struck that linear graph. So at that point you have to move towards the y-axis, then that will give rise the cost. So that is around 600, students. In this way you can find out the answer, students, using a linear graph. So next problem, students, that is time and distance. Example 6. Example 8, students, time and distance. So Ajit can ride a scooter constantly at a speed of 30 kilometers per hour. So Ajit is a rider who can ride the bike at a speed of 30 kilometers per hour, and we have to draw a distance time graph for this situation. So the time taken by Ajit to ride 75 kilometers, how much it is, and the time covered distance covered by Ajit in 3.5 hours, how much it is. For that, first we have to do is, first we have to draw a graph with x-axis and y-axis. So in the x-axis, what we have to take, you have to take the time, and the y-axis you have to take the distance. So for the first hour he can ride 30 kilometers, for 2 hours he will ride 60, so for 3 hours he will take 90. So first thing we have to draw a graph, which means take horizontal vertical axis, and you have to take a scale, students. In this we are taking that 2 units equal to 1 hour on x-axis, and 1 unit is equals to 10 kilometers on y-axis. So for 2 units it is 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. So for 1, that is 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers, 30 kilometers, 40 kilometers, like that, students. And 1 comma 30. So for 1 hour he is moved 30 kilometers. For next 2 hours he is moved 60 kilometers. Like that we have taken the points, these points, and we have plotted them. So it will give again a linear graph, students. So using this linear graph, students, so what are the questions they have asked? The time taken by Ajit to ride 75 kilometers. How much time it takes to ride 75 kilometers, students? So it is the distance for 75 kilometers is this, and you have to move towards the linear graph, and it will breaks here. So at this you have to move towards the x-axis, that is 2.5 hours, students. It takes 2.5 hours. Next thing is, next question is what? The distance covered by Ajit in 3.5 hours. So how much distance he has traveled in 3.5 hours? So is the 3 hours, and this is the 3.5 hours. You have to move towards the y-axis, and it will breaks here. So at this point graph you have to move towards the left, that is 105 kilometers. So you will make 105 kilometers, students. That's it. So finally what happens, friends? So there is the exercise, we have to solve it. So finally our chapter is completed, students. Hope you have understood well. So if you have any doubts, please feel free to comment below, students. Now we will see what is the total summary, students. We'll see total summary. So that is the first introduction to graphs, students. So we need graphs to represent numerical facts in visual form. So visual representation helps us to easily understood and easily compare. Next thing is about the bar graphs, which is used to comparison among category, students. So like that it is represented, or sometimes we also possible to write double bar graphs. And next thing is about pie graph. It is to compare parts of a whole, students. It is like in a circular shape. Next thing is histograms. It is like also bar graphs, but it shows data in intervals. So in this there will be no gap between the intervals, students, no gaps between bars, students. Next thing is the line graph. Sometimes if the data is changing continuously with the time, then we'll use the line graph, students. It is drawn first by plotting points and by connecting them with a line segment. So we will solve some problems on it, students. Okay, students, we have solved some problems on it. So after that, students, we have discussed about linear graph, students. So if the graph is not broken, it is going in a straight line, then we call it as a linear graph. It is from the line graph, students. Okay, so how to locate a point? To locate a point, we will need two information, students, that given by coordinates, two coordinates, x coordinate, y coordinate. X coordinate gives us the distance of the point from the origin in the y direction, sorry, in the x direction, and the y coordinate gives us the distance of the point from origin in the y direction, students. So we have solved some problems. After that, some applications. So there are some dependent and independent variables. We have find out the quantity and cost graph, and we have discussed about time and distance graph, students. Finally our chapter is completed, students. Finally, our chapter is completed. Our summary is also completed, students. Very completed. Hope you have understood well, students. So don't forget to subscribe Sreenath Academy YouTube channel. Also like and share our videos. Have a nice day. Keep smiling. Bye bye, students.